Alright, I do apologize. Apparently, we on to something, because I gotta make this into a part 2, because I didn't realize, after 30-some minutes of going through this, apparently my phone just decided to stop recording. So that must mean there's something here that's really good that the enemy doesn't want you to know. So if you like, if you support the channel, hit the like, subscribe, obviously definitely share, because there is something here for the collective that the enemy or the people that, just simply do not want to get out, because if that was the case, then, this message would have probably went through without an interruption. But that's okay. That's alright. Because you know what? I'm going to just simply try to pick right back up in the best way I can where that video might have potentially left off. I hope I went and kind of looked at it a little bit. I think I know about where it did leave off. Because it was, I believe, talking about, what society and stuff like that would do. I think I done talked about, yeah, I think I done talked about that. Just apologize. If you are new to the channel, welcome to part 2 of the first ancient teachings, I guess, is what we're going to call this. That the enemy don't want you to know, apparently, because, it should have, and it was so crazy because at the end of that video, I actually pulled some tarot cards, and do the synchronicities that were like just, oh, I wish it would have recorded. But anyways, that's besides the point. We're going to still get this message out the best way we possibly can. And so basically, it was referring to, as, I don't know if I said this or not, potentially, but basically, Joseph, became governor of Egypt, whose kings are Ra, Ra, the sun god, and became the king's path, and also known as the brazen serpent of Moses, which, if you didn't know, it actually would look like this, being the star, the sun, and the moon, and these tick marks would be the zodiac sign as it travels through the year, and to also represent, because I think this was a part that it really didn't want you to come out, is, this is how you can apply and read, the signs, of, you follow this path. And also, if you remember, I talked about it in the last one, with the brazen serpent bearer, instead of Moses. In a biblical sense, in a spiritual sense, if you look at what the 13th zodiac sign is, it talks about a fucus, which is the serpent bearer, which basically symbolizes, you choosing yourself, choosing to be one with yourself, to ripping that mask and illusions off of anything or who you might be trying to perceive or be, or anything like that, and just be who you really are. There's no reason to just simply not be who we are, and basically, you can correlate, in that sense, where it was kind of transitioned, from being, known as the brazen serpent of Moses, which talks about, again, being the star, the sun, the moon, following the year's path, and as you see, obviously this upper part was summer, and you can see the hump up is not so much great, and then obviously as you transition down into winter, it's obviously a bigger dip, just as the sun does in the sky, as Jesus followed the sun's path throughout the year, and learning how to interpret, and that's where a lot of people think that it's esoteric or witchy or it's woo-woo or it's occultic. No, it's basically how the divine is trying to communicate with you. That's why it also says, do you know the signs? Can you read the signs that I give you? If you cannot read the signs that I give you, then how else would you be able to know where and what to do and how to move about? See, this is what ancient Egypt people knew. This is what my ancestors of Indians knew. I do believe, I think in the last one though, I do apologize, I said Indian and Indians, and it was supposed to be, Indians in Egypt. So just don't flame me on that one too bad. So I do apologize. I did see that little uh-oh there. But, it's, that's what it's basically about. And, if you want to read or get a book that actually talks more about this, it's called The Devil's Pulpit. I don't know, by Robert Taylor. I don't know if I talked about these books in the last one or if they came through, but just as a reference point, we are going to go ahead and try and go ahead and mention them here and now. And also the other book, and you can get these on Amazon. And everything that I am talking about, I do hope it should be fairly easily that you can Google. And if you Google certain sentences or certain things that I have talked about, it should pretty much take a straight, direct, link to something that's going to correlate to what I've talked about pretty much, just to symbolize that. And also the Book of Astrology of the Old Testament, or The Lost World Regained. Yeah, so I think that one runs you around 58 40 some dollars on Amazon, and I believe the other one will run you around 30 to maybe 20 something probably on Amazon, obviously. But besides that, now that we kind of got that out the way, I was actually going to probably, the second more half was leading more into, why people might be pulled or, cultivated or drawn into tarot, and how tarot or spiritual people, healers or divination or, psychics or just energy workers or just, just people being in their true purpose and their path, can simply... Excuse me, but more so about spirituality and stuff, because, sometimes, we kind of get the, again, like I was talking about the last one, how you get a lot of these, finger pointers is what we're just going to call them, ooh, look at me, I know what's right, or I know this, and I know that. Well, good for you, move along, bro. It is what it is. But at the same time, I was going to go more into talking about how or why people might be drawn to spiritual channels or tarot or divination, in a sense, is usually because we are looking for the guidance, for the clarity, simply because you are not attuned into listening or seeing and understanding the signs that the divine, the creator, is trying to bring to you. Hence why usually most people start to tap into tarot readers. To give you a little backstory of why you subconsciously or psychologically might actually be drawn to those kind of channels. Just obviously use your intuition and discernment. There are some good channels, and there are obviously some very just clout-hungry channels that are out there to just try to get, views, likes, and whatever, with false pretense. And, I don't want to be that channel. You can definitely tell it's a very, very underlining channel. And a very quick way you can usually tell if a channel is going to be about that is because this video is probably very similar to that video, which is very similar to that video, which is also more than likely probably talking about somebody's inheritance, or you're just constantly talking about black magic, hexes, and curses, and what the voodoo witch doctors or whatever are just doing, which it's not to say that, those channels can't be good or informational, but a lot of times people do kind of get sucked into those, and they just kind of, they have a harder time of actually moving past those, and simply just taking what they need to know, and how it can be applied or resonate for that individual at that time. A lot of people, I see a lot of these people also doing readings, that talk about, oh, they got your inheritance, you got your inheritance. For the love of Jesus, please stop making those videos, just for the sake of the collective. because you're basically just throwing people in spiritual psychosis or loops, and you're not even actually meaning, a lot of these messages when they come across stuff like that. It's not to say that yes, sometimes yes, you actually might be owed some freaking money. Somebody might have tried to steal or take something that didn't rightfully belong to them. Okay, but a lot of times it's talking about spiritually. It's talking about energetically. It's talking about emotionally. Your inheritance. These are all things that nobody can take from you in any shape, way, or form. And that is what makes you you, and that also is what makes your soul, and also in a way, not trying to point fingers or blame anybody. Everybody has their own thing, that their niche and stuff that they do. It's just, if you do know, I'm sure you can correlate and relate that, you probably sat here, watched a reading like that, and then you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then, you basically, come back 3 days later or 2 weeks later or 2 months later, and you're like, well, where the hell's my shit? I thought you said my shit was coming. I thought you said the feds were on it. I thought you said the government was on it. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's basically like a hook and a bait. It's just a loop. It's just a loop, and that whole loop is usually thrown there for you to actually learn that you have some codependency problems that you potentially might need to grow and evolve. And once you do heal those, I assure you, you will go and click on one of them videos, and you will probably get you a good little chuckle and be like, yeah, I see why. I just need to probably just stop tuning into those things and those kind of readings, because simply, that's one thing that certain people don't want to tell you, is that it's not even about money. It's not even about physical, tangible things. It's actually more or less about internally things that you were rightfully owed. Instead of being constantly depressed all the time, maybe your birthright is to actually just simply be happy in existence. And that's one of the harder lessons that I feel people kind of get trapped and sucked into, with things like that, and also, but it's why, and that's what I'm saying. You have your ones that are here to try to really help the collective, and you can tell the difference, and then you have the ones that are trying to do that. Like, that's why I said from my beginning of my videos, I don't per se try to focus on a love situation or a love reading. Obviously, I did have one where some crazy Delulu X was trying to do something in the background. If that comes up, I talk about it, because whoever probably finds that, it might resonate for that person. That's the only reason I would do that. If I mention something potentially about an inheritance, it's only probably to a very, very small group of people. Okay, do not perceive it to be your own. Please use your own intuition and discernment. Okay, because if you sit here and you go out here again and you believe everything and anything that you were told and you hear, and you don't actually use your own intuition and discernment, you see how much in trouble that gets you. You see how much burdens that actually causes you. Because you got your hopes all up, and now look at you. Now you're sitting here looking goofy. Now you're aggravated because you was planning on something coming into fruition, and it just simply hasn't, because it's energetically. Okay. Yes, again, sometimes it is actually physically, but a lot of times it's energetically. It's physically, it's energetically and spiritually. Excuse me. And also, a lot of times, how is this actually applied? With following the zodiac signs, and how is this applied to tarot? And it's because the tarot, each zodiac sign plays a role to simply put it, in what's called the cosmic wheel. And if you're thinking, well, wait, that sounds pretty familiar. That pretty much sounds kind of like a wheel of fortune in tarot. Then you would actually be absolutely correct. They are actually correlated, and they are interconnected there. And it's just we have to be able to tune into, again, the signs, the synchronicities, to actually perceive those things, and to actually give the messages out and about. And also, a lot of times, and that's why people come to tarot, because you may not know how to read the signs or the synchronicities. And maybe you want to know how to follow the sun's path throughout the year, and to gain that that Christ consciousness, that healing, that integration, and also a lot of times it's also with the zodiacs, moving through the year, through the sun, just as Jesus did, following the path of the sun throughout the year, through the zodiac signs, reading and understanding the signs and the energy that was being brought and perceived to them through their angels, or aka angles, your mind's eye. And that's why they say it's important to meditate and to ground your energy, is because when we do that, our angels come into our mind's eye, and it can quote unquote we call it the hangman position, and or the bird's eye point of view, a higher perspective. There's numerous ways we can word it, but basically what it does is we meditate and we do that, and our angels come into our mind's eye, and then basically what we do is we actually we gain a different angle of perceiving things, and that different angle of how we perceive it could either be an angle of healing, it could be an angle of integration, it could be an angle of, oh, this is how I need to move, or oh, that's the lesson I need to learn, or oh, that's why that didn't work out, or oh, maybe that's why I needed to put that on hold and focus on this, and then we can do that. And see, that's the whole reason why people come to tarot initially, is in hopes in regards to actually get that clarity and truth. Though a lot of people use tarot and stuff for entertainment purposes, though we do have to say for entertainment purposes, because certain reasons, because sometimes it can definitely be it can be out there, and but it's basically representing with the wheel of fortune, and or aka the cosmic wheel, the cosmic wheel, or the serpent path, the serpent path of the star, the sun, and the moon, the brazen serpent of Moses, moving throughout the year through the solstice, and following the sun and the zodiac signs and the path of Christ consciousness is basically what it was teaching us. Again, it's not about a person, place, or thing. It's actually more so a blueprint of you and how to evolve and heal and integrate things. That's why it is a very powerful book, and it's very useful if used and read accordingly. Though a lot of people have, it's not everybody, but there is a group of people that have, unfortunately, a twisted concept or perception of what that is actually supposed to be for and used for. We can only hope and pray they find their way in their path. But basically, the whole point of, you can look at this in a way, as these marks, as zodiac signs, right, following the sun's path throughout the year. But you can also look at this as these are archetypes, or these are lessons, or these are integrations, or almost kind of like checkpoints, for your soul throughout the year. Little check-ins, little checkpoints. Where are you at? What you got going on? What do I need to work on? What do I need to move towards? And it's those things, and it's those signs that we have to learn, that my ancestors in ancient Egypt and other ancient times, that's what they knew. That's the whole reason they had that whole temple in India, with Osiris and stuff, talking about the sun, and giving gratitude and thanks to the sun and what the sun does for us in illuminating our path throughout the year, and how to navigate these energies. Hence why tarot was pretty much initially kind of made. Obviously, it did come from a game way back in the day, but at the same time, if you want to, that's more like 1500 century. But then again, you can actually go all the way back to ancient Egypt, around when Thoth or Thoth was around, Isis, Ra. They actually had tarot cards then, so you can't per se say that tarot was actually more of a game, as they actually knew how to implement and apply the tarot as a tool and a resources, to use and cultivate for themselves and their life and their lessons and how to move forward and to constantly progressively get that wheel of fortune to constantly move in their favor. Rather that wheel of fortune is with money, rather that wheel of fortune is with love, rather that wheel of fortune is with career, rather it's with a new project endeavor. It's maybe I'm going through a hard time. What can I learn? And the whole point of why we might tap into it or get these readings or go to these people is because we're looking for the healing, we're looking for the clarity, we're looking for the things that potentially we may not be able to see, or we may need to have confirmed or confirmation for us, as sometimes the signs and synchronicities can be a little scrambled and jumbled or have a little brain fog there, or simply, it can also represent, that maybe, myself included. I could use myself. There was a time where, I didn't quite, I wasn't able to fully, understand or understand, and read the signs and the synchronicities as I moved through my